besides the whole components that you developed, but the composition was very strong as well, that we could really follow, and it really bring a new, like a nice musical world. And I think that's we have these components all around we can develop, but your composition approach is really, really important here as well, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, my question concerns how this entire process of composition happens.
Mm-hmm.
This whole piece, if I can call it that, is very organic. So while it is explained in a musical way, it's someone's really, I don't know, emotional property or something. So was it the story behind the poet, or the meaning of this poem, or his way of speaking, which inspired you to to experiment with this kind of different kind of voices?
As you put it, it's based on the experiments. So in the beginning, I knew nothing about the piece. So I just made some experiments with the voice, a lot of things. And most of them I destroyed and abandoned. But later, I got the idea of this process that goes from breathing to the organ, so to speak, all the different states. And then I was trying to build an instrument that enables all these different things. It took long until the scratch was like this. So this is just the user interface. You can imagine that below, beyond this, it looks very, very different. And then I started to work on the piece, always listening to this. So it was really a sort of empiric process also. And it's interesting because at this time when I composed the piece, I was part of a research project where scholars asked composers to tell them how they compose a piece. So I was in this program as a sort of guinea pig, and they gave me the instruction to write a sort of diary, production diary. So every day after working on this piece, I had to write what I have done, and it became quite an interesting diary that also showed all these different deviations that I took. It was, if I read it afterwards, it was not a linear process from the idea to the realization. It was a completely chaotic thing, and in the end, I came to a happy end. But there were times during this composition process where I didn't know where to go. And
so usually you don't have any particular system when you're working on something creative system.
I have artistic ideas that I always use. I'm very much interested into processes, as you know, and into interaction also with the controller. I mean, it's not very optically, it's not very interesting, but it's so good to have the feeling that you mold the sound, and you're not just diffusing a fixed media piece. This is for me personally not interesting.
But what is the main point when you start? You start other working, you have a piece and you start to like create the idea, or you start from the technical side and then you go into the...
It starts always from the... before I start composing a piece, I always try to get... It takes long, for several weeks or months, to get a vision of the final thing. Whereas the vision could be in the end completely be different from that what I had in the beginning. Yeah? So I'm not thinking about the technical solution, but first I have the idea of how it could be in the end. And regardless whether it's a string quartet, a string quartet or a sound composition like that. And then I find this is something that guides me. So this is very important that I have this strong vision that helps me to come closer. But it's not difficult, not easy. It's always a fight and a hassle. technology, of course, helps, and especially in sound art, that you hear what you're doing. So you get a lot of empiric results that helps you to come to this result. I mean, if you write a string quartet, it's very different.
I think we can have one more question then.
Well, I would like to ask, have somebody else tried to perform this piece?
No.
Well, how do you feel, do you think that would be sort of possible and perhaps interesting and rewarding if somebody else would train?
Yeah, of course. It's possible. It doesn't require me.
Yeah.
Would be, I mean, currently nobody asked me to play this. So I can do it myself, but if someone would ask me, I would be willing to give him the code and to give him instructions how to do that.
Well, let's have last question.
Okay. So, well, for me, it's remarkable that the recording is really interesting, but it's also really homogeneous in terms of spectral content.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has a very specific range of frequencies where it operates, and you manage to have this so varied amount of phases that you can experiment, and they are all very different to each other.
Mm-hmm.
My question is if having just a single source that is homogeneous, it's something that interests you in your practice, how to develop this amount of material so different from each other and then compose a piece with that just with one single source. It's something that interests you, or it was a circumstantial thing just out of this specific
No,
project?
this is an artistic decision. I really like to work with only little material. So it's a reductionist approach. So I think this is one of the most challenging but also most rewarding thing. You work with little, not only in art but also in life. I mean, for example, cooking. Yes, you know that with flour and water you can make so many different things. Yeah? Not only bread, you can make pasta, and you make wie heißt denn das, so eine Brei? So, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah? It's just the same ingredients, but the way how you process them, you can make so many different things out of it. And this is something that interests me. Not having too many ingredients, is only a few, and then trying to make all the combinations and find out what works.